Thank you, all of you, for coming out on this chilly evening. My name is Suzanne Pachetti Johnson. I am the program manager for Avenues to Wellness. We are a program of the Howard Foundation. And I'd like to take this moment to honor Margie Hanley, who passed on Saturday. Margie contributed so much to our community. She was the president of the foundation for many years. She was a driving force behind our Howard Hospital, and she was one of the creators of Avenues to Wellness, so she will be dearly missed. And yes, thank you, Margie. Now, I am very proud to introduce our guest speaker tonight, Claudia Wenning. Claudia is a true healer in our community. She is a very experienced alternative healthcare provider offering functional medicine and counseling. She is also a daily practitioner of meditation since 1980. So she's here today to share with us the many benefits of meditation. Thank you so much, Claudia.
Thank you, Suzanne. Thank you all for coming. Now, if you like, you can come a little closer. I don't bite. And then I don't have to talk so loud. So this is, actually, we're going to get up close and personal here today. So welcome, welcome, welcome. And hi. And you helped yourself to the handout. That's great. I may not refer too much to this, but please take the handout with you. It's excerpted from the internet, but I think it might be helpful. What is a chronic disease? Can somebody help me out here? What is a chronic disease? Okay. Maybe a little more specific.
Something that affects your ability to live and be happy, but it drags your energy down, so it's not feeling a certain way, but it's something that doesn't go away. It's over a period of long term.
It's something that is assumed to not go away. Yes. And I'm just asking, you don't have to show a hand, but I will. Who has been diagnosed with a chronic disease in this lifetime? Okay. And we all have an idea what it means, right? So chronic, yes, it may just keep on being present in our life. And by definition, disease is the absence of ease. Okay. So that is something that when you become the diagnosis, certainly something you should pay attention to. And if you haven't had the diagnosis yourself, you may know somebody, family or friends, who have had this diagnosis. I stopped counting after I had 5 times the diagnosis for chronic disease. So for me, I kind of know what it means for me, but that's just for me. It is very different for each and every one who has been giving this diagnosis.
Can I ask a question? Do you think chronic disease and chronic pain are the same thing? Because I have more friends with chronic pain than chronic disease.
Yeah, not necessarily, but the overlap is obvious. And I also question the very wording of chronic disease, because it's maybe factual in the moment, but there is a hypothetical aspect to this too. Just because we have it now, what are the facts you're giving me that this will be with you to the end of your life? And what are the symptoms, or what is the expression of this chronic disease, which could be pain? It could be also not pain, but a restriction in movement in any other way. It could be something that would affect your brain. It could be related to one organ that may not be as painful, but it will definitely influence the way you live your life, your energy level, your nutritional decisions you make. So it's not synonymous. Does that answer your question? Okay, thank you. So now I have another question for you. Help me out here. What is meditation? Anybody?
Relaxation,
Relaxation.
centering,
Mhm.
Being present, yeah, in this moment.
Being present.
focus of attention.
Focus of attention.
So focusing inward versus focusing outward.
Uh-huh. Okay. All right. And there's much more to this, right? And I think we will agree on all this. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here. Meditation is something you have invited in your life in some form or other, or you're willing to learn more about. Am I still good so far? Yes. Okay. So meditation. Would you like to know why I'm doing this today? The benefits of meditation for chronic disease? What do I want to say, right? Are we ready? I'm going to say. When Suzanne asked me to come here and speak, we kind of came up with this collaboratively, really easy, like with ease. So, and I hope you all made it here with ease to talk about disease, which is a complete conundrum, but thank you for being here. So, meditation. I think I want to start with partially what it means to me. And I say partially with awareness because there are aspects of meditation I'm not sure I have the words for yet. Meditation has the linguistic foundation of meditare, that's Latin. Latin to translate into English, there is a plethora that actually fits the meditare. It is reflection, contemplation, pondering. Anything else? Okay. What's my favorite, do you think? Acceptance. Okay. My favorite, when I talk about meditation, is reflection. And as Suzanne said, so meditation came to me in 1979 in a very, very peculiar way, and certainly based on the need that I had to make changes in my life. And that probably goes for many people. Like, we try this, we try that, and the other, and we're still frustrated and not at ease with our life. So what else is out there? And what actually speaks to me? And honestly, it didn't even speak to me. I mean, sitting around doing nothing, that's not my MO, right? And so it took me a while, and I'll come back to this later because the way I embraced it, there is a part to meditation which is not as popular, but I'll share this with you later, okay? So we're going to get there. So meditation, I think I want to stay with, for a few more sentences, with this understanding of reflection. Reflecting on something, reflecting about something, and simply reflecting something. Now, the mirror gives us a reflection when we look in the mirror, right? The mirror is not us. It is a reflection of light. It's a fractal. How the light is used by the mirror to reflect the light that comes towards us and that we bring out towards the mirror. So, this is my way to understand meditation. It is not identification, it is reflection. I'm not the mirror is not me. But looking in the mirror, man, all the things I can see. That rhymes. Okay, so we're good, right? So that is one way to get into it. Meditation is a space where we're actually making space for all kinds of types of reflections. And there is an understanding of a reflection that is purely mental. Like, let me reflect about this, I'll get back to you, I need to reflect. I actually wrote a book which I said these are reflections going throughout the year. And so reflection speaks to me, the concept of reflection, because there's something that is not entirely me, but it is certainly something that reflects the coloring I'm going through, if you will. Okay? So much about meditation. So now, how can that help when we have a chronic disease? That's what we're here today, right? How can the benefit of this reflective state we're moving into through meditation benefit us when we have a chronic disease and or any disease? Anything that is called disease. If it's happening right now, it's happening. I really don't care if it's chronic or non-chronic. If you're in pain, you're in pain. You don't say, oh, this pain is great, it's not chronic. I mean, it may help you, but factually, you're still feeling the pain. You're feeling the pain if you have a cut on your finger or you have a lifelong diagnosis, right? You're feeling the pain. And feeling the pain may reduce your awareness of being at ease, if you have such a concept. Maybe being at ease, it's like, that's a foreign language, right? I'm never at ease. What are you talking about? Ease? Nah, doesn't happen. Unproductive. Why? Why bother, right? So, however, if we stay with the concept of dis-ease not being ease, and ease has the potential of being a beautiful space to be in, then meditation may come into the equation. So, now how? What do you think? What are we doing? How can meditation be an equation of being at ease? What do you think? Anybody?
Allowing that inner space to reflect as well.
The space to reflect, yes. Exactly. That's my language. Yes. Okay. We are not only occupying space, we have a lot of freedom what we do with the space that is us, in us, around us. And that's actually a freedom that nobody can take away from us. However, we have to discover it first to then utilize it. So meditation, the practice of meditation opens the door to a certain sense of liberation. Liberation from all that we have crammed into that space of busyness, of unease, of disease, of pain, of frustration, of arguing with the neighbor, having a fight, who knows what, being unhappy about world affairs, which we all have an opinion about world affairs, right? So that can occupy a lot of space within our space. What are we doing with our space? Are we making space in the space for ease? Or is it all crammed shut with all the things that bring us disease? Just a rhetorical question, but it makes sense, right? So, if you're not happy with the state of being we find ourselves in, being too busy, being too worried, being preoccupied, worrying about the future, being resentful about the past, all these processes, if you will, they take up space. You can't see them, you can't touch them, but you know they're there when they're there, don't you? You can feel them, you can sense them. And you can keep your mind busy till your head feels like it wants to explode. It can bring you insomnia, which can turn into a chronic disease. It can bring you all kinds of medical challenges as well. So when that happens and your body is not on par with what we're doing with the space we live in as a sentient and thinking being, maybe it's time for change. And that is where meditation could come in if you feel drawn to it. Now, when I was drawn to it many years ago, there was none of the differentiations that are on the handout. There was meditation. You just sit and do nothing. And if you're not capable of doing this, you're a failure. You flunked, right? You're either sitting there, preferably in perfect lotus position, or forget it. Just go home and live with your troubles. So we're in a very, very different and much better place now, right? So, and that's what the handout is for, to inspire you to look for all these tools that are available today. And what we're going to do today, we're going to experiment with what is called guided meditation in a little while. Because it actually gives us guidance to move into that space where we can make space. Make space and sort out things. And how do we do this? There's one common denominator about any and all meditative practices. Well, according to me, maybe not everybody sees that, right? The common denominator is we question everything. We question everything that seems to be of value, of importance, unchangeable, and that we have lived with forever. Just question it. I'm not asking for change. I'm just suggesting if you want to feel better, to be more at ease because of a chronic disease, a non-chronic disease, any other non-ease, if making change appeals to you, then we have to ask that question. What can we let go of? And more specifically, there's certain things we completely identify with. Certain beliefs, certain patterns, what we need for breakfast, who is my preferred animal, what do I do in my job? I'm identified with my job, that is what I'm supposed to do, and I'm stressing about it because I may not be doing it good enough, or not enough hours in the day, that kind of thing, right? Identity beliefs about worldviews, politics, anything, you name it. Anything we identify with, there's nothing really wrong with it. But if that takes over and gives us the sense of ease at the end of the day, we should question this identification. It's not just outwardly, it's inwardly too. The disease, we often can blame outer circumstances like air pollution, politics, but what really is happening, how we respond or rather react to what is happening around us based on certain beliefs and patterns and habits, and how we actually take that home, like in here, right? How we are filling our own space. And if that takes us out of a place of ease, let's question that. And then you might say, I don't know, place of ease, what the heck is that? It's different for everyone. And I can only give you what I have learned over all these decades. The place of ease is where you become the observer. There's nothing wrong with your thoughts, with your ideas. We are with lofty goals, with wanting to change the world and make it a better place. Nothing wrong with it, ever. But if all these ideas, inspirations, and goals bring me this unease, then I have to look again. What am I doing with myself? Am I judging myself? Am I pushing myself? Am I expecting things from myself that really I'm not in alignment with, but I think they're cool, so I have to be cool and do them, right? So all these are what I call identifications. And in the same way, the identification with a chronic disease. When you get a diagnosis, it's a given, because whoever gives you a diagnosis tells you, I know better than you, this is what you have now. We figured it out. We did 100,000 tests. Here's the results. This is what you got. Live with it, deal with it. Before it was called chronic disease, it was called a lifelong condition. A lifelong condition. Well, again, what if that is not the case? What if we make space for the possibility that even if this may be happening right now, who really can guarantee this is going to go forever till I take my last breath? And who has enough foresight to actually say this is going to be a disease for the rest of your life? Even if we're all in agreement, there are states of non-ease, like to break a leg, not fun, right? And there's certainly something that's happened to your body that the body is not meant to have to endure this forever, and then it does heal with the proper, the proper management, if you will. And I think management is a really important word, not just for chronic disease, but for disease in general. When we have a diagnosis, we're actually asked to manage it in a way. Maybe we get a prescription. Maybe we get a walker. Maybe we get a brace for scoliosis. Whatever it might be, right? We may get insulin for diabetes. That's a chronic disease. It can be. Or at least it is in that category. But there's always the space that we can make to manage this in a way that we don't have to over-identify with it. I mean, as Suzanne knows, I work a lot with diagnoses, or like clients who have diagnoses come to me, and I want to know it all. I want to see all the tests. I want to see all the data. It is important, but it's also like a snapshot in time. And what if it is more like a wake-up call? Okay, this is happening with your body right now. Doesn't feel so good, does it? It's unease. It's a disease. The question is, what are we going to do with this? And that goes beyond just managing what is, but what if that is an indicator that the entire space we're in needs a new understanding of management? And who's the manager? Yeah, it's us, right? It's us. So managing the space we're in, and that is certainly the body and everything that comes in touch with it, and everything we want to connect with it. It can be even such a thing as the choices we make, who we surround ourselves with, in terms of things, humans, animals. We're making choices all the time, right? So that is also like a space management. And how can that benefit us as a wake-up call to drawing more ease into our space? And now, that's where meditation comes in. We can get completely frazzled when we want to change our environment, and it's not that changeable. But we can change our responses and reactions within to our environment, right? And it comes full circle back to, let's take a moment and allow myself to just look. I'm thinking a thought, I'm doing a thing, I'm invested in something. How does it really feel? Why am I doing it? What if there was another way to do it? Anything that would shake up your automatic identification with what we think and do all day long. I mean, starting in the morning. How do you get out of bed in the morning? Do you have an awareness of what you're doing, how you're starting your day? Is there anything that could bring more ease in your life? And then you have to allow yourself to question all the identification with your habits as well. And we are habitual beings, aren't we? Yeah, who is not? Okay, so, and I love my habits. But it's like this check-in. This habit might have just been the most amazing thing ever 10 years ago. Maybe not so much now. What if that increases the disease and really diminishes the ease? Okay, how can I work with that? I can meditate upon it. I can ponder. I can contemplate. I can reflect. And now I'm coming full circle back to reflect. It's not even a matter of changing or doing it right or wrong or being an experienced meditator or, in general, a meditator. What does it even mean? Somebody who may be interested in meditation and doing it. However, what we do in what is called meditation is entirely individually your way of reflecting upon your life. Reflecting upon your life and allowing yourself to just look in the mirror of the identifications clearly. And how do you do this? By giving that activity space. All you have to do is give yourself just a little space for meditation. Just a little bit. I believe you don't get better when you meditate longer. Like from 3 o'clock in the morning till 7, and I did 4 hours of meditation. I'm like way up there. My vibration's super high. Yeah. I don't know. You want to touch me? I don't know if you're ready to touch me. I'm just so cool, right? That is another belief we identify with, that we're better by doing more. May or may not be the case, right? And if you're only doing more meditation so we can feel better about it, who are we serving? Truly our space or just an aspect of our space? A mental aspect. It may not serve us in the long run. So, the older I get, my concept about meditation just goes, whoa, like that. Anything goes. Anything goes. Anytime and anywhere. You can start with a minute. You can start with an hour. You can start early in the morning. You can do it late at night. You can do it at the stoplight in traffic. Because the practice of meditation, wherever you do it, however long you do it, is nothing else than making space to reduce your identification with things that don't serve you ideally anymore. And that can be a lot of things. And then the movie just starts rolling like, oh my God, I forgot to mop the floor. I forgot this. I forgot that. I have to run the washer. Whatever. And I have to call XYZ. Yeah, I really should call this person right now. It just keeps going, the identification with thoughts, right? Some, okay, all right, the house is on fire. I get that. But some, they just appear so essential, but they may not be. So it's always coming back to reflection. How much do I identify with something? Is it really serving me? Or is it just serving that belief to keep it pumped and big and important? But that belief may not be what serves me now in order to be in a place of ease. In order to not feed this ease. And that's actually, on a sideline, this is a very interesting concept. I believe, and yes, I will reflect on this belief afterwards, I will question it. So no over-identification, but I believe that if you identify too much with certain beliefs alone, it can create a physical disease. This might be a little out there, but don't write it off completely. If that happens as a pattern over and over and over again, it creates a load of stress and tightness and contraction and density that could literally affect your physiology. Just saying. You don't have to identify with it. But you can. And use it if it works for you. So, where was I? I know I jumped there and I have to jump back. And I have notes, but these are already yesterday's notes. It's completely different what's in the notes. So, okay, just stay with me. Now, the other aspect about meditation is what you are probably interested in is a meditation practice. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here. A meditation practice, like I do the practice and it will make me feel better. It's an equation, right? Meditation reduces the dis-ease or non-ease and will bring me to ease. Yes? 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 Great equation. But it may or may not happen. Okay? So there again comes in the concept of, okay, I practice and I get results. I do it again and I get, this is like almost too linear. It may not be like this. It's almost like being in the garden, you plant something and then it looks completely different when it comes out of the ground. It's like, oh, wow, what's that? So we always have to allow that it's not linear. It's not an equation. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't do it. Just the opposite. And that's where I'm going with this. A meditation practice, and correct me if I get this wrong, by design is probably a certain activity in a certain stance, wherever you choose to do that in any which way, but it is limited to a certain amount of time, a certain space, and mental space. Are we in agreement? What if it is the practice of the real thing? When I sit for 3 minutes or 3 hours, I am in my meditation practice. What's happening in the other 21 hours in the day? You tell me. That's a good thing too, yeah. However, where I'm going with this, thank you, I think it should not be isolatory. Right. It is now? Yeah. It is, we practice it. We give it our focus, our attention. We give it the space, the time, and we immerse ourselves in it. And we taste on the flavors of the goodness that this slowing down and being the observer and being the watcher can give us. And the freedom of maybe completely disidentifying with something that doesn't work for us anymore. It's a space to be in, to restructure things, to make more space. More space and more space. So then we get up with ease. That felt good. I just got a little different perspective. I reflected on a few things. I let some stuff go. Other stuff, yeah, it's still there, but it doesn't affect me that much anymore, right? So, great practice. I highly recommend it every day. But, again, it is just a practice. Ideally, what it could be, a space that we tend and nourish all of our waking hours. And there's a whole other topic into our dreams, right? So we practice it with awareness, consciously, within a certain designated space of meditation. And then it grows. And it grows. And something happens 3, 4, 5 hours later, and we're just like, oh my gosh, what's going on? Bring that experience in. Don't leave it out there. It's yours. It's yours to grow, to nurture. And I think this is where your whole life can change, transform. Meditation that weaves through every hour, through everything we do. Yes, you may be freaked out at times, but you may not stay freaked out for 8 hours. Yes, you may be very upset, or you may be so emotional that you just need to cry. That's all good. But then you come back to that space of ease. you don't over-identify. It's not the end of the world. Why? Because we're still breathing. It may be a huge change in life on many levels, collectively and individually. And there are good reasons why we may have concerns about the future, and some may come true, others not. But it's also, again, energy management. How much energy do we truly invest by identifying with concerns about the future? Because the future is an open book. We are not the only ones who are pulling the strings. So we don't really know what's happening tomorrow. What we can do, we can manage our field. We can find out what works for us and what we want to see happen. But to lose my center about something I cannot influence, that might be happening in a few months, that I don't think it's an easeful management of my life, or the life of the ones I live with, either, because it reverberates. And if I'm not at ease, and I live with you, just you may be very tolerant, but at some point it can affect, right? And it does, right? And then you have to work even harder to stay in your state of ease. So, might not be the right way to move forward. Okay. Questions?
So what I got from you was meditation isn't the cure-all in the sense of some of your issues in life. For example, for me, I meditated for 30, 40 years, so I know that it won't keep you from making a stupid decision.
Wow, that would be cool. Yeah. No, there is no guarantee. But actually, it may not be cure-all, but it's one potent healing management tool, if you will. And coming back to disease, if you have like a proven organ misfunction, let's say, or, okay, let's take diabetes number 1, which often is diagnosed at birth, and then you're certainly told you have this for the rest of your life. You're going to have to, have insulin for the rest of your life. And that may or may not be the case. And in most cases, so far, it has been the case, which may change over time. However, so you cannot meditate yourself out of having diabetes 1. Then one day you wake up and say, I don't have it anymore. Give me the cream cheese, give me the cheesecake, give me the cookies. That may not happen, but what if this is part of your journey and it's actually a potentially inspiring challenge to live your life with that condition, because it will ask you to become aware of what you're doing, will ask you to become aware of what you identify with, what you like and don't like about it, how you have to differentiate the needs of your bodies is different from like the average. Of course, there's not such a thing as the average body, but you know what I mean. So what if this will stay with you, but bringing this topic into your meditation will make it easier for you to live. And I think that has worked for me. So, as I said, I had several diagnoses with lifelong conditions, and some of them, they might stay with me till my last day. It's very possible. But I don't fight them. I don't feel sorry for myself. They have given me an opportunity to get in tune with what serves my body, my mind, my emotional equilibrium best. And in hindsight, it probably has given me the necessary push to be interested in healthcare, the alternative kind? Yes, definitely. Yes. I wanted to understand more what the heck is going on and what can we do about it. And it was never really the question of reversing anything, because that was so not part of that equation 40 years ago. No, there's no reversing. You got this. You know. But what if all the colors of the rainbow, there's one as beautiful as another, right? What if a body with one or more chronic, right? Chronic diseases can still be managed to be functioning to its own maximum of optimal. It just takes more reflection. Am I going to be depressed that I can do X, Y, Z, or can eat something, or be somewhere, or do something? I have a choice. Does it serve me to be so disappointed that I'm not like the average 14-year-old? It has to be looked at. Because, of course, we're all programmed the same way. You know? I want to be like the other people. I don't want to be different. There's something wrong with me. Well, that alone is a state of non-ease, isn't it? So, I do think cultivating a meditative sense of being, this internal space, can help us to deal with chronic disease, not chronic disease, any non-ease situation, with grief, with loss, with worries about world affairs. It's endless, and it's potent because it's so endless. It's omnipotent, I want to say. Okay, so, any questions so far? Yes.
I tend to ruminate on things. I tend to think. I have a very active brain. And so my meditation time is my time to disconnect from that. I don't want to focus. I focus on my breath, or I focus on a particular mantra, or I focus on a particular cycle of, in particular, trying to flow healing stuff through one area. I don't know that I want to spend my meditation time focusing on problems I have that I already ruminate on. That's what I'm listening to what you're talking about, and I'm just reflecting on those things. I do that all day anyway. It's like I don't want to do that.
Right. However, the awareness that you're focusing on these topics now gives you the freedom to not focus on them anymore. But that's easier said than done. So this is why now we have all these incredible tools like breathing meditation, walking meditation, singing meditation, all kinds of things, right? So it's not that you are just thrown into an empty space alone with these thoughts that already are menaces all day long, right? That's not where I'm going with that. It's just the opposite. But the awareness of not having to be identified with certain thoughts, that needs to be cultivated in a meditative space. It could be as simple as the mantra. If you like a mantra, I am not my thoughts. Rama Maharshi made a certain meditation form very popular in the last century. It's called Vipassana. And that is another way of doing it. You don't have a mantra, but you have a question. And to always come back to that space of identifying, non-identifying, identifying, non-identifying. There's only one question you have to ask yourself. And the question is, who am I? And when you ask yourself the question, you immediately will have an idea. I'm whatever. This is my name, this is my age, I'm doing this, I have kids, I have animals, it just keeps on going. However, none of these identifications are encompassing. They're all little aspects of this wholeness of you. And you can get lost in that, for days if you want to. Just ask yourself, who am I? And it all comes flooding by, and then you have the choice. Just watch them. Watch your thoughts. I'm Claudia. I'm Claudia. I'm Claudia. What does that even mean? My mother decided to call me Claudia. So what? I have nothing to do with it, right? So you can question all the thoughts that you identify with. And when you do this long enough, there may be this richness appearing in a sentence like, or mantra like, I am not my thoughts. This richness of making space. Yeah, it's a little repetitive, I've said that many times, but this is how it feels to me, of making space. I can identify with thoughts, and they're coming, right? They're coming all the time. You can't just sit here now. I'm not thinking. Try that. Just humor me. Does that work? Only as far as the next thought, right? And then I'm thinking, oh, I'm thinking. No, I'm thinking, but I'm not thinking. Oh, I'm thinking, I shouldn't be thinking now. What am I thinking? No, I'm not thinking. I'm so thinking. And I'm identified with the thinking. And it actually can be really fun. I mean, it's kind of cool, right? It's like, oh my gosh, you're thinking. So, okay, don't fight it. The thoughts are always there. It's like this radio station beaming these thoughts. And we are receptive of it. And we immediately pick the thoughts that fit. I have to fix the carburetor. I have to wash the dishes. I have to water the flowers. I have to call XYZ. We pick the thoughts that fit with our momentary experience of life. And there you have it. Great, yes, I have to call this friend of mine. Okay. I don't have to rush, get up, leave that space, and call her right now. Maybe sometimes, but you know where I'm going with that, right? Does that make sense? I'm making space. Okay. Now, thank you all for coming to honor your time and this space, and that you get a taste how it feels to honor your space. I want to do a fun thing with you. The funnest part is the part I haven't talked about yet, but I mentioned it. It's that part that you do before you start meditating. Okay. When you're in a state of non-ease, tightness, constriction, frustration, nervousness, just loaded, right? And then you sit down, and now you meditate. So what are you bringing in this meditative space? The tightness, the frustration, the constriction. It's like, come on, this will take forever. So if you feel like it, I invite you to get out of your chairs now for a minute or two and stand with me. And I'll give you a little clue what you can do to make it easier to go from tension and non-ease to ease. That will allow you to ease into this space of letting go, reflecting, not identifying, which is an aspect of being in a meditative state of being. You become aware of your body. What are you doing? Okay. Just let it go. Just let it go. Just shake your hands, shake your elbows, shake your shoulders, shake your legs. Just shake it all. Shrug your shoulders, let them go. Shrug your shoulders, let them go. Is there tension in your neck? Just let it go. Just let it go. Just let it go. Shake it out. Shake it out. Gently, don't hurt yourself. Release. In capital letters. Release. Whatever has built up through this whole day, just release it. Shake it out. Great. Shake it, shake it, shake it. Yes. Great. Shake it. Thanks for playing with me. Good. So when you're all shook up and out and whatever, you can sit down again. Yay! Okay, so To be in a meditative space means to not identify. You're not your thoughts, and I may even go a little further. You're not the pain you're in either. You are the experiencer of the pain. You are the experiencer of the restrictions that's come through your diagnosis. You are the experiencer of old age, genetics, lifestyle, whatever it may be. You may not have gotten enough sleep. You are experiencing all this. But there's always more than that. And I don't mean to diminish the incredible challenges we have through disease, and especially through getting older, which is going to catch up with all of us. It's not an easy ride, but it is not the essence of us. We are the experiencer of it. When we experience exhaustion, we yawn, release some stress. When we experience pain, we find certain tools that help us to manage the pain. It may or may not go away right away. But I think the key understanding is make it manageable. There may be other reasons why this pain is in our life right now, but do not ever assume that it will be on the same level of intensity for the rest of your life. That is an assumption. And that is not based on data either. That's based on, what's the word? Hypothesis, right? Yeah, all these big words. So, but that's a really good reminder. And I know what pain is. Throughout my childhood, every other day, the hot water bottle was my best friend. Nobody knew what to do with me. After school, that's where I was, with a hot water bottle on the couch for years. Nobody knew what was going on with me, and I was like in a fetal position. So I know what pain is. I know what NDE is. I know what it is. But I also know that none of this has to be permanent. It took me over 40 years to get an idea what was happening with me back then. I know now. And when I figured this out just a few years ago, was a good day. So change is part of life. And change can be for the better. Even if somebody says you have a chronic disease and it's going to go downhill from here, that may be the case, but it may also not be the case. And even so, if it's going downhill, maybe it's a great ride down the hill. Who knows? So, okay, here we go. So you're all shook up and shook out, right? Okay, so what I would like to do for a few minutes, just give you a taste, and Susanna would like to time you for a few minutes.
Okay, how many minutes?
3.
3.
Yeah.
All right, perfect.
It's a quickie. Actually, 3 minutes. Just invite eternity into these 3 minutes. It's a disidentification with time too. And that's another topic for another talk, but we can stretch time, and we're going to stretch time in these 3 minutes. So I'd like you to just make yourself comfortable. You can close your eyes or keep them open, and as comfortable as you can be in these chairs, and take one beautiful, deeply felt breath. And allow the exhale to be long, complete, coming out, till really nothing wants to come out anymore. And then do nothing. And guess what? There's another breath coming your way, isn't it? Just drop yourself into the experience of these other breaths coming in, filling your body. You can even loosen the jaw, you can relax your shoulders. And actually, if you do relax your shoulders, relax them, and then relax them some more. And bring your awareness back to the breathing. Bring your awareness back to the breath. Become aware of your jaw. Become aware of your neck. Become become aware of your whole upper torso. Are you aware of the breath coming in? And then what happens? Just observe. And observe the exhale. This is the foundational meditative practice of all, because we cannot really identify with the breath. The breath is not ours, it's a gift that is given to us. And it's the catalyst to then, with the exhale, to let all that go that really doesn't belong in your space anymore. So what we're doing, we're coming to a space of observing, watching, being aware. There's another breath coming in. Yep, it's coming. Nothing to do. Being the space in which the breath can do its magic. And again, whenever you are distracted with thoughts about what time it is, what is Claudia talking about, something is itching on my leg, come back to the breath, just for these few minutes, with an excitement that the next breath is coming. That's the gift that money cannot pay, ever. And observe how the breath affects your breathing. It becomes deeper and deeper and deeper. The sensations in your torso will change. Let it happen. Observe it. And be at ease with it. Ease. With every breath, invite in a little more ease. And exhale everything that doesn't serve you. And now, since 3 minutes are up, bring your attention to the sounds in the room. Bring your attention to the feelings in your body. What part of your body needs a little extra management? Maybe later tonight or tomorrow? What part of your body needs a little more attention? Just notice. And although you don't have to identify with all the messages that your body gives you, you certainly can take them into consideration to then bring this ease you're feeling right now into the next hours, through the night, and the next day. That's the space I'm talking about. Making space. All right. Thank you all for playing with me. I have one last sentence to tie this all together. We all have access to this anytime, anywhere, and it actually is what I call quantum level as well. And as you know, my business called Quantum Level Health. It's the place, the space of being where everything is allowed, nothing is held to. All potential is present. And we have choice. We can choose the next thought we want to identify with. We can choose, am I going to jump up and be all tense again, or is there something else that would serve my being better right now? So it's an unlimited space. Space beyond space. Space beyond time. But with unlimited potential. That's what meditation is. And who wouldn't want to have this? Like every day. Right? All right. I'm done. Thank you for listening. So, if you have any questions, ask them. If I can answer, I will. If not, too bad.
How do you meditate, Claudia?
I started early on with the very hard to do as a beginner, the meditation where you just have to be nothing. And I was told you have to like lose your ego. What?
How you do that?
Yeah, exactly. And I think there's no need to lose the ego, but becoming aware of where we are egoistic, egocentric, egomaniacally, or just so wrapped in a certain identification with who we're supposed to be or who somebody else is supposed to be to live with. Not healthy, right? Like, we gotta change. I don't have to change, you gotta change, right? So that is something you can reflect upon in meditation. And then, when you have sorted all that out, managed it, to move it in this space of ease, you can just be. You just be. So, I started with that. I did several rounds of the Vipassana, which was incredibly intense and incredibly, literally ego-blowing and mind-blowing, but not the easy route. And that's why I want you to take that handout home with you. It is so easy now. Guided meditations, meditations about pain sensation, sound meditations, frequency meditations, certain hertz frequencies like music, right? It's amazing what is available. It's just like a plethora of goodness. And then the next step, and that is a work in progress, Suzanne, I admit it, and I actually like it that way. It's a continuous work in progress to bring this state of meditation into every waking hour. But that is the reason why I'm here today, because I wish that for everyone. It shouldn't be an isolated practice. It should be something that just flows. It flows. Maybe it's sometimes better than others. And yes, there's things that can derail me, and I'm just like, what? But it doesn't take me as long as it did 40 years ago. The ruminating, I know what rumination is. But am I going to ruminate for a whole week? Or just give it a little space? Yeah, I'm ruminating, yeah. You know? That's the difference. And I can't talk enough about how many tools we have now to create this space so it works for us. And coming back to the chronic diseases, I think it's the ticket. I think meditation is the ticket because it gives us the freedom not completely identify with the pain. And pain can be excruciating. We think our life is over. We think we have to go on morphine. And there are situations where this might be a choice, but we shouldn't narrow our options down to that. There's always something else we can do. And it is in the acceptance and the observance. It's not fighting. Don't fight the pain. It's a state of non-ease. Any fighting, right? You don't have to love it. You don't even have to like it, but it's a wake-up call. When you're in intense pain, you better do something with the pain, not against the pain. Look what I'm doing, with. Yeah, so. Does that answer your question?
Yes.
Okay.
Life is a meditation.
There's a good mantra right there.
I have a question. For example, when I have been working and learning meditating, I using the guided meditations. But sometimes I just use the guided meditation, but I don't thinking in any questions or something, just go like that. And now how you say, what question is asking who I am. And it's important to do always an intention or a question.
I think it can help in the beginning. Ultimately, you come to the place like in the case of the question, who am I? How am I ever going to answer that? It's so fractal. there's so many, unlimited aspects of myself where I could say I am that. But next year I may not be that. But it's an incredible reflection tool. So yes, if it helps, have a question, have a mantra, yes. Eventually, you must just be sitting there. I don't have any question. What now? What a problem! It's not a problem, I tell you, it's not a problem. I don't have the answer. It's not a problem. It's just the opposite. It's allowing space to actually not having the answer, because it would just be an identification that I have to know everything about me. I have to know everything about the world. I have to know what's going on. I've got to have it figured out, which is a figment of my imagination, and I'm not the only one. I may never figure it out. So then, great, I can stay at ease. I can never figure it out. But I'm ready, willing, and able to figure something out if it really is in my face and I got to figure it out to the degree that I'm able. So yeah, questions are great. Yeah, one of my favorite, I said that earlier, is what if? Just go with that one. It's a good one. Yeah. No? No? Nothing? Okay. Well, I guess that's it then, huh? Thank you. Thank you.